Look, call me a hater or a Spurs fan if you want to. I'm happy for De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes getting some revenge on their former team, defeating the Sacramento Kings 123-110 today in San Antonio. The Kings have now lost 6 straight games. They're 3-11 to start the season. And everything, literally everything they are doing on the basketball court looks difficult. We'll talk about it right here on Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all season long. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off of your first purchase. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News. And of course, I'm Sacramento Kings fan and media member and reporter first. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that I did, to some extent, enjoy seeing both De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes play well for the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I would have much preferred the Kings win this game with both of those guys still playing well, but whether you want to call it poetic or not, with all the injuries or with being shorthanded, no Victor Wembanyama in this game, no Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle only played the first half of this game. To see Fox and Barnes be the guys to step up and to lead the San Antonio Spurs to this victory over the Sacramento Kings, it's painful for sure, but also, I mean, look, in my opinion, it's just kind of great. I don't know. I'm happy for the guys. De'Aaron Fox, 28 points, 4 of 8 from three-point range, 11 assists and a steal. He was a plus 20 in this game, which was the most of any player on the court tonight. Harrison Barnes, 20 points, 7 of 11 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point range, 2 steals. Both of them went through their own versions of being blamed in Sacramento. And I'm not saying either were blameless, and I'm not pretending like I wasn't one of the people, especially in the case of Harrison Barnes, saying, well, the Kings need to upgrade that position. The Kings need to upgrade that position. The Kings need to move on from Harrison Barnes and find a replacement for Harrison Barnes. You can go back and listen to the podcasts when the Sacramento Kings traded Harrison Barnes to the San Antonio Spurs as part of the sign-and trade that brought DeMar DeRozan to Sacramento. I'm not going to suddenly switch up and pretend like I didn't view that as a positive at the time and that I didn't have frustrations like many of us had with Harrison Barnes in his time here in Sacramento. But HB was always a super solid, super consistent player here with the Kings, at least with his ability to play. Maybe the consistency wasn't the best in terms of the numbers and the production. Some nights he was really good. Other nights he would simply disappear. I think part of that was because of how the Kings used him, but also part of it was because of how Harrison Barnes was playing. So he's certainly not blameless, but Barnes went through years of, well, the Kings can't take the next step unless they upgrade Harrison Barnes' position. He leaves, goes to San Antonio, and now is part of one of the more exciting young up-and-coming Spurs teams in the league. That is, I think, what are they, 9-3 now after this game? 9-4 after this win here today. And then, of course, De'Aaron Fox, right? Again, Fox not blameless in this. He certainly didn't do himself any favors in his exit out of Sacramento. But De'Aaron was called everything from a snake to someone who had backstabbed the franchise or said F you to the city or like whatever. All these things that were said about De'Aaron Fox on his way out, an ugly breakup, and many of which I thought was unfair, and I've defended Fox before. I've also been very critical of Fox and how he's exited and also some of the things that he did towards the end of his time here in Sacramento before he was traded. But both guys are now part of a Spurs team that is miles ahead of where the Sacramento Kings are, and both have to be feeling very, very good about their circumstances, leaving Sacramento. It sucks for us. Like it sucks that they've left and gone on to do greater things. Look at what Kevin Huerter is doing with the Chicago Bulls, right? It seems to be a consistent theme of players leaving Sacramento and finding success elsewhere. How many times do we play the game of, oh, look at the former Kings that are playing in the NBA playoffs? We've been playing that game for years. I don't know. I'm happy for Fox and Barnes. I'm happy they got this performance. It's unfortunate that it comes at the expense of the Sacramento Kings in this loss, but I mean, the Kings are pretty much a lost cause at this point anyway. Only 14 games into the season. So I'm happy for those guys. And if that bothers you, sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I liked both of them. I liked covering them. I'm a fan of both of their games. And I'm happy to see them succeed in San Antonio. Right after the game was over, right after the final buzzer, if you're watching on TV, I don't know if you caught this, but immediately Fox and DeRozan find each other, and the camera's on both of them, and they immediately find each other. And instead of like talking right then and there, like they clearly step away from the rest of the group to have a conversation and actually come to the near sideline, not the bench sideline on television, but the near sideline, and meet up with De'Aaron's wife, Rasay Fox, who is always courtside. And I have no idea what they said. Of course, they're not mic'd up. I would have loved to hear what the conversation is like. Part of me, the little devil on my shoulder, is saying it's De'Aaron Fox going to DeMar and saying, man, you got to get the heck out of there. Or DeMar going to De'Aaron Fox and saying, you did the right thing getting the heck out of here. It's a disaster in Sacramento. But I don't know. I just thought it was very interesting to see the two of them make such a effort to have a conversation, just the two, well, three of them with Rasay, right after the game was over. Could have been nothing. Could have been like, hey, good game. Best of luck. Appreciate seeing you. But I don't know. That's more fun to apply some fun little devious narratives to that. Outside of the Fox and Harrison Barnes thing, the Spurs manhandled the Kings, like kept them at arm's length the entire game. I know the Kings made a few runs and they got to within 6 points late, and then Harrison Barnes hit a big three to make it a 9-point game. De'Aaron Fox checked back in and slammed the door shut on any Sacramento Kings comeback. But really, the Kings were kept at arm's length the entire game without Victor Wembanyama, without Stephon Castle for the second half, and without Dylan Harper. Right? Like, the Spurs, had those guys played, I don't know, the Spurs probably would have won by like 25, 30, more than likely. Like, just... newsflash, the Sacramento Kings are a bad basketball team, and every single team that they play, they make them look so much better no matter who is playing. As soon as I saw Victor Wembanyama wasn't playing this game, I thought, who cares? Like, not that Wemby's not one of the greatest players in the NBA already in just his third season, but I knew it didn't matter. Like, I knew De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, Stephon Castle, like all these guys, I knew they were going to be just fine handling the Sacramento Kings, because every team does just fine handling the Sacramento Kings. Once again, the Kings fell behind by double digits in the first quarter. I feel like they've fallen behind by double digits in the first quarter in all. I have to double check this, but it feels like definitely the last few games, might be seriously every game on this losing streak, they've fallen behind by double digits in the first quarter. Now, this game never got into like blowout territory. A large part of that was because of DeMar DeRozan and how he was playing offensively. And we'll talk about him later on in the podcast. But it just didn't feel like the Kings had really much of a chance. They'd make these little runs, get it back to within single digits, and the San Antonio Spurs would build it back up to a 12, 13, 14-point lead a couple of possessions later. The largest lead for the Spurs was 19 points in this game. And one of the reasons why the Sacramento Kings are struggling so mightily to start the season, one of the reasons why the Kings are 3-11, is it just like watching them, everything that they try to do just looks difficult. It just looks hard. It doesn't look like anything comes easy to the Sacramento Kings. They'll have good moments here or there, but everything just looks like it's such a strain to do anything effectively with this roster. We'll talk more about that. Talk about DeMar DeRozan, Dennis Schroeder, both who had good games. Talk about Zach LaVine's struggles. Keon Ellis got the start and didn't do anything. Also didn't play all that much, if we're being completely honest, too. Still so much to talk about here on Locked On Kings. This episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Locked On Kings is also brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in. It's the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You can use Game Time to grab seats for any upcoming Sacramento Kings game and get them in minutes. Plus, I love that what you see, the price that you see when you select your seats, that is the price you pay. No hidden fees at checkout. And you'll know exactly what the view from your seat looks like well before you ever sit down and get in the arena. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, you save big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. I thought about seriously having a segment of this podcast where it was like, what are the Sacramento Kings even good at anything? But that felt a little too like disingenuous, a little too like shock jockey, which I'm not trying to be. Of course, there are things that this Kings team is good at, or in theory is good at. But I felt this way even when the Sacramento Kings are playing well or finding success. It looks like it takes close to their best effort to do it. Now, I'm not saying that I expect the Sacramento Kings should be able to coast their way to better numbers and better success, but it just looks like, it especially stood out to me in this game against San Antonio. Everything the Kings do is tough. I know Keegan Murray is an important part of this Kings roster, like an incredibly important part, but like, he's the only, like, no disrespect to Devin Carter, who was out with an illness in this game. He's the only King that was out, really. He and Devin. So the Kings were pretty close to full strength. One of the closest games they've been to full strength so far this season. And everything, offensively, defensively, everything just looks so difficult for them. It looks like it's a strain. It's a struggle just to execute consistently. They struggle to score offensively. They struggle to get stops. We've known this. It's hard for them to find any sort of rhythm in the game on both ends of the floor, but particularly on the offensive end, which is supposed to be a primary strength of this roster loaded with offensive talent. It's tough for them if they start a run to maintain it and not immediately give it all back. This team just makes everything difficult. Or maybe they don't make everything difficult. Maybe think everything is just difficult for this roster, which to me is seriously, it's one of the most incohesive rosters I've ever seen. It just, I know we've talked about this, and we talked about this during the offseason, and these fears of like this island of misfit toys, or this hodgepodge fantasy basketball roster that you put together like it was a pickup game in the Drew League or in your local gym. But it just feels like a group of individuals who are very talented at basketball who cannot figure out how to play together because they probably just can't. They just don't do anything well together consistently. They'll show flashes. They'll have a good quarter, a good few minutes, but they're just not cohesive in any way. Like, I look at the way the San Antonio Spurs are playing. Again, minus 3 of their stars, 3 of their most important players. Granted, one of them is the reigning rookie of the year. The other one is a rookie this season, and Dylan Harper. Wemby's in his 3rd year. We're talking 3 super young players, but 3 of the most important players on that Spurs roster. And it doesn't look like they miss a beat in this game. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're playing the Sacramento Kings, and the Kings make everybody look good. But Surprise, surprise. A young, athletic, aggressive team likes to get out in transition. They got De'Aaron Fox, the fastest point guard in the league. They love to get out in transition and run the fast break. They had 15 fast break points, converted 6 of 8 fast break opportunities. They got going from three-point range early on to establish themselves. Then we're getting to the paint at will, outscoring the Kings 58-44 in the paint. And again, they had no Wemby, and the Kings had Domantas Sabonis, but still they got outscored in the paint. Like, the Spurs just look cohesive. They look like a group that knows how to play together, play off of each other, a roster that makes sense. And when you play a roster like that, even if the Spurs aren't the greatest team in the league, you can see the night and day difference between them and a hodgepodge roster like the Sacramento Kings that just is tough to watch with any sort of optimism of like, what do you fix? What do you tweak? Can you even tweak? You just have to retool at this point. DeMar DeRozan did have a good game. It was good to see DeMar bounce back. His last 2 games offensively, he's done next to nothing. And DeMar, 27 points, 12 of 15 from the field, 4 assists, 2 steals. DeMar DeRozan was by far the best Sacramento King on the court. Here's the problem, though. When DeMar DeRozan was on the court, the Sacramento Kings were minus 27. DeMar DeRozan was a minus 27, which is the worst in the game. So even with DeMar DeRozan shooting nearly perfect from the field and scoring nearly 30 points, the Sacramento Kings were getting rinsed. Now, of course, DeRozan is part of that because of how poorly he plays defensively, but it's not like DeMar DeRozan gave up 27 points. That's why the plus-minus stat is so frustrating, because it applies a team stat to an individual. What that says to me, it's less of a boo DeMar DeRozan, it's your fault, and more of a, even when you had DeMar DeRozan playing some of his best basketball, it didn't matter, because when DeMar DeRozan was on the floor, you couldn't get any stops. And again, it's not all DeMar DeRozan's fault, because he's being surrounded by other players who also don't play a lick of defense. So, like, even if the offense was better, and it's not good, by the way, but even if the offense was better to a level where Doug Christie is acting like it's at, we know we can score, we'll be just fine on offense. Even if it is good, your defense is so bad too, like, it doesn't matter. It just does not matter. And at least he was scoring, because Zach LaVine did nothing this game. LaVine, 8 points, 3 of 7 from the field, played just 24 minutes. I don't know if his back is still hurting him or whatever. LaVine got off to a fantastic start, scoring the basketball to start this season. Did make a few decent defensive plays in this game, and also had those classic Zach LaVine defensive breakdowns that you would expect. But LaVine, if he's not scoring, like, you're not getting anything. So LaVine struggled offensively in this game. Keon Ellis got the start, and I'm sorry, Did anybody notice what Keon Ellis did? Like, I'm not trying to bag on the guy. I know this is a pretty negative Locked On Kings podcast here today. I was happy to see Keon Ellis get the start. I'm also aware Keon only played, 15 minutes, and that's rounded up. So Keon didn't even play that much. It's about the same minutes that he plays when he comes in off the bench. So maybe even less at times than he should be playing coming in off the bench. That being said, like, Keon got the start. We've been clamoring for Keon Ellis to start. I did not notice Keon Ellis really do anything at all in this game. He had 2 points, 1 of 3 from the field, 0 steals. Like, didn't do what he normally does defensively, which is getting steals. Again, only played 15 minutes, so it's not like he played 35 and just was a disappearing act or anything like that. But I didn't notice Keon do anything in this game. And we can't just praise the guy when he succeeds and scream from the top of our lungs, he needs to be starting, he needs to be playing more, he needs to be starting, he needs to be playing more. Then he starts and he doesn't play well, and we just ignore it or find another reason to blame. Now, I still think Keon Ellis does deserve opportunities to start if the lineups make sense. And I do think he should be playing more than 15 minutes a night. But Keon Ellis didn't do anything. It was an opportunity for him in the starting lineup. He didn't do anything. Once again, the starting lineup did not look good. The bench was the better part of the Sacramento Kings overall with how they played basketball today. And a lot of that had to do with Dennis Schroeder. We'll talk about Dennis Schroeder. Plus, I want to talk a little bit about Nick Clifford, and we'll look ahead to the still horrible schedule that the Sacramento Kings have for the remainder of this road trip. That's all still to come here on Locked On Kings. This episode of Locked On Kings is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride that hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team is the one making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com and sign up to play your favorite game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Second game in a row where Dennis Schroeder comes in off the bench and he looks really good. Really solid game from Dennis Schroeder. 22 points, 8 of 13 from the field, 5 of 8 from three-point range. Also had 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Again, like, part of me wants to say, like, good for Dennis. He's able to ease into the game more, but is he better or is the bench just better? And I don't mean like talent-wise, but the bench plays better basketball than this starting group does. They do. Like, Russell Westbrook had a fine game, an okay game, but Russ didn't look his best playing with the starters tonight. And Dennis kind of looked off the bench the way Russ has looked when he's played with the bench unit in this game. Like, the bench is just better. They just play better, more team, more cohesive basketball. And I think Dennis Schroeder is benefiting from that. Now, Dennis himself is also hitting shots. He's playing better too, so I'm not trying to say that to undermine what Dennis Schroeder is doing. He's been playing a lot better. It's nice to see him bounce back and play well over these last couple of games. Dennis Schroeder was the guy that got that Kings lead, or rather the Spurs lead down to 6, gave the Kings a chance to maybe make a run there in that fourth quarter. To be fair, he missed a 3 that would have been huge to cut the lead down to 3 points. And after that, Harrison Barnes hit the 3 to put the Spurs up 9, and it was pretty much a wrap after that. But Dennis, like, it's good to see him playing better, playing well. I just don't think it's a coincidence that Dennis is playing his best basketball and Russ was playing his best basketball. And so many of these, like, the Kings just seem to look their best when they have a more cohesive bench lineup on the floor with better spacing, better ball movement. It's just, to me, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Maybe I'm overreacting to it or overreading the situation, but my eye test tells me the bench just plays better team basketball than the starters do. Neat Clifford is part of that Kings bench, and Neat Clifford played around 10 minutes in this game. 1 point, 0 of 3 from the field, 0 rebounds and assists. Like, the only thing that I really want to talk about with Neat Clifford is when I watch him play, and I know he's trying to find his way, not just in the NBA, but find his way in a team with a lot of players who are trying to figure things out. The Kings are in kind of a free fall state right now, and he's just trying to make the most of his opportunities. I just want to see Neek be more aggressive, be more decisive when he has the ball. Like, if you're going to attack. Don't just dribble the ball. And he's not looking at the rim. He's looking at his teammates, or he's settling for kind of these floater jumpers in the lane, or attacking the rim and looking to lay the ball up softly and he doesn't have to dunk the ball necessarily, but go stronger to the rim. It reminds me a lot of kind of what we used to talk about with Keegan Murray his rookie year, right? Like, it's common for a rookie, so it's not worth freaking out about. But if Neat Clifford is going to get more opportunity and more playing time as the season goes on, which I do believe he will, especially after the trade deadline, I want to see Neek be more decisive, more confident, more aggressive with the basketball, the same way that we saw during the summer league. It's going to be tough for him to do that in the next game, though, because for the third time already this season in 15 games, 3 times in 15 games to start the season, the Kings have to play the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm sure that'll go great. Kings get the Thunder up next. After that, a winnable game, maybe their only chance at a win during this road trip. They take on the Memphis Grizzlies, and they wrap things up with their third game in 17 games against the Denver Nuggets. That's how they end the road trip. Then they come back home, and the first game, the team they play is the Minnesota Timberwolves for the third time, who have already beaten them twice. So, like, genuinely, if they don't get that Grizzlies game, like, they're going to lose tomorrow in OKC. They're probably going to lose in Denver. If they don't get that Grizzlies game, they're coming home. I mean, obviously, they're coming home 3-14. Like, this team is cooked. I mean, they're already kind of cooked, but they're really cooked if they come home with that would be a 9-game losing streak and a 0-5 road trip. It's not just possible. I'd say it's likely. Even that Grizzlies game, it's likely at this point with how the Kings are playing. But we'll see if they can pick up one, maybe surprise us. They played really well, to be fair to them, really well through like 3 and a few minutes quarters in OKC the last time they were there. But then again, they just lost to OKC in Sacramento by 31. So, oh boy. Only 14 games in. No matter what happens, of course, I'll have it for you right here on the Locked On Kings podcast. Want to hear your thoughts. If you are mad at me for being happy for Harrison Barnes and De'Aaron Fox, that's fine. Let me have it at MattGeorgeSack on Twitter. Email me, mattgeorgesports@gmail.com, or leave your thoughts in the YouTube comment section down below. Appreciate your support as always. Can't wait to have you join me on the next episode of the Locked On Kings podcast. Until then, my name is Matt George. You've been listening to Locked On Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.